Webheads unite. What is up, guys? Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, I am your host, Mike Spider Slayer. Get ready to bring you episode 24 of After the Pull. That's right, guys. Welcome to the show. And I did not change that, so pardon me there. So I'm going to just hide that. So episode 24 of After the Pull, it didn't save. This is where DC titles are actually getting delayed for the week of March 19th or 20th, whatever your new comic book day is these days. And I think we're going to have a fun show today because I actually have some new comic books that we're going to be talking about today, which is kind of cool. A couple of news topics as well. And I think we'll have a good time. So hopefully you guys made it to the comic book shop this week and you were able to pick up some of the DC titles that were released, or maybe you partook in some of the Marvel digital books that were released this past week. So we actually got a new comic book day. So I guess that's kind of good, right? And then next week, we're going to have more new comics, of course, from DC and some of the Image titles, which is kind of cool. So, so we're going to have a good show for you. So here's what we're going to be talking about today. So first things first, today we're going to be talking about the whole Death Metal Expanse 7 issues. So we're going to be talking about that. Plus they're releasing a guidebook. We're going to be talking about Peter David on how he's going to write the origin story of Maestro. We're going to definitely talk about those DC titles that were delayed for the week of May 19th. And we're going to be talking about comics. And so those comics we'll be talking about is Ghost Spider issue 9. We're going to be talking about Justice League issue 44. And then we're going to be talking about Avengers of the Wastelands issue 4. Okay, so you notice there's a couple digital books in there. But with me and my friends in Comic Frontline, we have sources to read those digital comic books. But I would never pay for it on my own. So there you have it there. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So of course, guys, at any time, if you like this show or this channel, subscribe, like, hit the bell. And of course, super chats are more than appreciated, but that doesn't stop me from reading your guys' comments. I will try to read every comment as much as I possibly can. So thank you for your support on this channel. Of course, if you want to become a Webhead member, there's all kinds of different ways. You watch this channel, you're a Webhead member, right? You can become part of my Facebook group called Comic Book Corner 2.0 Webheads Unite. That thing is a great tool for everyone to come together, especially on New Comic Book Day. That's the day where I show like all the stuff I wound up picking up, and I love seeing what everyone else picked up. So they put pictures on there and stuff like that. So the membership over there is growing. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. So that's a great way. That's a great thing to have, you know. And then you have the memberships here, right here on the YouTube channel, which is the silver, the gold, and the elite, and they all have different tiers. All you got to do is hit that join button. So yeah, guys, that's all the little stuff on there that I have to say. And let's see who's on the show right now. So we got 11 people that are joining early on. So let's see who they are. First things first is we have Andrew who's on, and he says, "What's up, Webheads?" So Andrew, I think this is the first time you've actually been on the show in a little while. So welcome back, my friend. We have Neil Jackson. He says, "Hi, Mike. How you doing?" "I'm doing pretty good. I was happy to go to New Comic Book Day yesterday, pick up my books, and fortunate to go to my shop. So everything's doing pretty well here in Florida, you know, dealing with this whole coronavirus thing." Two Gun Pedro's on the show. He's like, "Yo, Mike, pew pew, pew pew." It's awesome. So welcome, Two Gun. The comic book noob is on the show. He says, "Hey, Mike, what's up?" So welcome, noob. Happy you're on here. And Smoke Ghost is on. He says, "What's up, Mike?" The Black Knight is on the show, and he says, "Hey, what's up?" Nico 413 is up. He goes, "What's up? I just finished God Country. I loved it." That's funny. I bought it yesterday. I haven't read it in a long time. I started rereading it today. I got to the middle of chapter 2. I think I'm almost at chapter 3. I got caught up on some things that was going on. I was helping my son with homework, creating the show, doing all kinds of great stuff, and so I'll probably read the rest of it probably by tomorrow, because it's crazy how quick you can get sucked into God Country. And when that spinoff series comes up, I'm totally on there. And then we got SS12 is on. He says, "What's up, Mike? I'm reading Bendis Daredevil and considering reading Ultimate Spider-Man. How was that?" Ultimate Spider-Man is badass. I definitely recommend that, for sure. It's a great read. Bendis Daredevil, I don't think I've ever read, but I definitely say go out there and read Ultimate Spider-Man. That was the best thing that I think Bendis has actually written. And we got a superstar on the show today, making his first time appearance, is Gem Mint. I always comment on his videos. We talk back and forth every once in a while. You guys should know who Gem Mint is. He's one of the biggest YouTube comic guys out there right now. And if you guys haven't checked out his channel, check it out. He does new comic book day reviews. He does his statue unboxings. He does this great video series called What's in the Box with his wife, Fee. And he's got the ultimate Gempire when it comes to his room. I just got the side of a freaking garage, man. That's all I got. He's got a whole flipping room of omnibuses and stuff. It's so awesome. So that's cool. Thanks, Jem, for tuning in. Even if you can't tune in the whole show, I appreciate you stopping by, man. That's awesome. Two Gun Pager says, "So happy comics are starting to trickle back every week." Yeah, I totally get it, man. It's like, it's hard to even find a consistent list. And when you find that list, it's like, dude, seriously, it's like it changes, right? And in this show in itself, the DC titles got changed again because stuff got delayed, So insane stuff. Smoko says, "Just picked up Batman Adventures issue 12 CGC. Nice job." Nico says, "Just got extra fresh up in here. What's up, Gem?" That's right. And Gem's like, "LOL, thanks for the warm welcome." No problem, bro. I appreciate you coming on here. And everyone's responding to Gem. They're like, "Yeah, Gem." So the show just got serious with Gem being on here. We're all a big community, man. We all talk within each other. When I go on Gem's show, I see the entire comic book community on there, and it's awesome how we all kind of just congregate and watch each other's shows. And it's not a huge community, but it is a good one. It's strong, and the one thing that bothers me about YouTube is that they don't have a comic book section, on their tabs. Like, they have entertainment, they have like movies, they have video games and stuff like that. But why don't they have a comic book section? I mean, we got comic book movies these days. There's so much that surrounds comic books. Make it a thing, man. I think there's enough big YouTubers on here that we can make it a thing. I think it's awesome. SS12 says that redhead statue is nice of Gem. And then Gem is saying hello to everybody that's on the show. And Andrew's like, "Dude, I love this community." And 12 says, "Yo, Mike, I'm glad that comics are back, but things are getting kind of confusing when it comes to the release dates." Yeah, I agree with you, because I'm trying to get my series going once again when it comes to like my covers of the week, my top 10 most anticipated comics. And it's just like all the sites that release that stuff, it's just inconsistent across the board. I can tell you now that the site that is the best as of right now, as of yesterday, is actually Previews World. Go on the previewsworld.com. They actually have books up for the 20th on what books are exactly coming out. They got the covers of them. They got the variants if you're looking for the variants and whatnot. So you can go on there and check that out. Gemment's replying SS12. Yeah, man, just went down the rabbit hole with that line. He's getting all those DC statues now. It went from all the Marvel stuff. Now he's going down the DC line. It's just like once he does collect something, it's like he is the true completionist. Muhammad's on the show, says good day. Now we need is Cincy Nerd and Comic Corner 2.0 crossover. Yeah, it'd be good to do some crossover stuff. I've been saying that I've been trying to do it and want to do it with these guys, which would be good. It's just my schedule is so like busy all the time with me teaching tennis and working on my other job and my family and everything else. It's hard, you know. The only time is like Thursdays at 4, it seems like, where I have that spare time, you know. Have you seen Bloodshot yet, Mike? Is it any good? I have not seen Bloodshot. I should see it, but I haven't seen it. Let's see. Got here, Muhammad. Well, I thought DC is able to make it to this week for some new comics, but the title alone makes me worried. I would love Valiant to continue making movies, some awesome characters. I agree. Anytime you have comic book movies, you know, you're always, you know, thinking, oh, are they going to make it? Is it going to be worthwhile? But, you know, I think it is. I think it's definitely a good thing. They just got to, you know, be wary and make sure production's right and all that stuff, you know. Oh, I agree with Andrew here. Andrew says, I want a Ninjak movie. I agree with you, Andrew. I think Ninjak would be sweet. That is one character that I really like from Valiant. Exo Man of War is another character I really enjoy as well. And I loved issue 1 of Exo Man of War. And it's just like, I want issue 2 to come out. Another one was that other Image book that came out recently where the guy was like, it had like Alzheimer's or something like that. And he dressed in a suit and he was committing crimes. What the heck was the name of that Image title? I forgot what it was called. It was done by Skybound. If you guys remember, let me know in the comments. Bavarian, member of Comic Book Corner 2.0, says, hi, Mike, and the chat. Let's see. 12 says, apparently Justice League Odyssey came out this Wednesday. I need to go back and get that as I am going to collect that whole run. Okay, so I liked Justice League Odyssey when Jessica Cruz like got killed. I know that seems dark, right? But at the same time, it was like, oh yes, and then she got her powers, like Omega powers and stuff like that, and then it just lost me. Like I fell off of it a little bit, you know. And I haven't read it, and I looked at it yesterday. I'm like, it looks cool, and then I just put it down, you know. Let's see what we got here. Muhammad, thoughts on the new DC CW Arrowverse announcements? I didn't even hear because I don't even watch that stuff anymore. I did in the beginning, and then it became way too many shows for me. And then I just put it down. I'm just like, nah, I'm done. I can't keep up with it. I'm horrible when it comes to TV. Like if there's something that I got to do, it can only be one thing, because if I can't do something 100%, it pisses me off. And so it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. So if I'm not going to watch TV, I'm like, not going to watch TV. I'm not going to talk about it. It's weird that way with me. Like this comic book channel, if I couldn't do it 100% like I'm doing it right now, I wouldn't do it. It just bugs me to do things half-assed. That's why this pandemic thing is driving me crazy, because I can't do the series the way I want to do them, you know. I've had to get creative because most of my channel relies on the new comic books. That's always what this channel has been about, and whatnot. So I've tried to get creative with different topics and things like that. It's just not the same for me. Okay. Oh, we got that banner up there. I don't know why that came up there. Okay. Gem Mint says, Galia, the Eternal Warrior. XO is my favorite. Exo, that new book, man, was so well written. I loved it. The artwork was phenomenal. Stealth. There it is. 12 said it. Stealth. That first issue was great. If you guys haven't checked out Stealth yet, I definitely recommend that shit. That was really good. Two Gun says Ninjak was one of my favorite Valiant characters. I know there was a series that was recent, like a couple years. It's probably more than a couple years, because when you do comic books, time flies by and you don't realize it. You're like, oh yeah, it happened last year, and then it's like 4 years ago. I've been doing YouTube a long time, and my channel just doesn't get hasn't gotten discovered like maybe other people's, or maybe I just suck. I don't know. But that's just the way it is. It took me for a while to get the amount of subscribers I have, but I also was off the air for about a year and a half too. Let's see. Why does this keep showing up when I do that? All right. Ninjak was one of my favorite Valiant characters. Jem says that Image book was the one I was hyping. Yeah, I remember that. And I think it was because of your new comic book day review, Jem. It was the reason why I picked it up, because you said the ending of that book was something you would not expect. And I'm like, well, I know it's a good ending, but what is this ending? Like, what could it be that's going to be different from everything else? And when I read that ending, I was like, oh shit. I'm like, that is so good. Let's see. Thoughts on Percy Watson on Disney Plus confirmed. I didn't even know that. I don't really have any thoughts there. Has Kindred showed up fully in Amazing Spider-Man? Yeah. No. So we've been waiting for Kindred to make his appearance since like what, issue 1, issue 2, and we've been left cliffhanging with that forever. And do you guys have any thoughts on who you think this person could be? I know a lot of people are saying that it's Harry Osborn. Some people, I said that, some people are thinking that maybe it's Flash somehow back from the dead. I thought I had a crazy theory thinking that it was actually Boomerang, because he's had these magical powers and he's working with Kingpin or whatnot. So I don't know, but if you guys have any thoughts, let me know in the comments below. Very curious. Texas John says, Jem got me hooked on Berserk, my first manga storyline. Next, I want a Guts statue. I'm not, I've never been a manga type of person. I think I've read Dragon Ball Z, probably like everybody else, and Dragon Ball. And I've actually read, believe it or not, I read a tennis manga one time, because they don't make anything about tennis, but I forgot what it was called. I thought I still had it, but yeah, it was all about tennis. I'm like, this is pretty cool. I don't know if it was like Tennis King or something weird like that. It was like 2 volumes. And I think that's the extent of my manga. And some of that stuff is kind of like sexual and stuff. It's weird. All right. Next, Jem says that Texas John, Berserk is awesome. Yeah, you got into that stuff too. Let's see. You guys got a lot of comments today. It's awesome. Muhammad says the new announcement I mentioned about CW Arrowverse is all the new seasons and new Arrowverse shows now delayed to January next year. Well, that makes sense, because obviously what's going on in the world today, we can't obviously produce these shows. These people can't meet up. So it definitely makes sense. If you guys do watch those shows, in the comments, I would love to hear what you guys think of these shows. Do you still watch them? I think I watched it in the beginning when I watched Arrow when it first came on, and I quit after the Deathstroke season. I just got tired of it. I watched a little bit of Supergirl, Legends. I watched in the beginning as well. Flash is okay, and then I've never even watched Batgirl. So the only thing I watched fully almost all the way through is The Walking Dead. But then once they got to Whisperers and they killed off Rick, I was done. I haven't watched the episode since then. I did watch The Strain. The Strain was actually a really good show. Oh, Percy Jackson. So what's Percy Jackson doing on Disney Plus? I don't know. Neil says, I'm reading Amazing Spider-Man, the Stan Lee run on my Marvel Unlimited. I am on issue 61 at the moment. Spidey fighting a kingpin of crime. It's cool. That's cool, man. Those early Spider-Man books gotta be... I don't want to say a chore to read. That would be kind of mean, but I would say that it is kind of rough to read. It's so dialogue heavy, and it's just like it's like a chore to read some of these things, right? Let's see. 12 says, I've been off of Amazing Spider-Man for a while, but I want to come back for the Kindred story. I would say wait for this story arc to end. I think we're going on, I don't remember what issue it is now, 43, 44. As Spider-Man is battling this cog creature or whatnot. And I think then maybe you could probably jump on it. They're dealing with the tablet of time. If you ever watched like the 90s Spider-Man animated series, yeah, they're dealing with that. So once that's done, I would probably jump on because I think we got to be getting close to Kindred. And I think when Kindred is done, I honestly think when it comes to Amazing Spider-Man, I think I think his run is going to be done. A rhyme there. So that's what I think. I think someone else is going to take over after that. I don't know if he has another huge story to tell. We'll see. Andrew says, my theory is that Kindred is Carly. Why is it Carly? I'm curious to know. Out of all people. She's like the left out girlfriend of Peter Parker, right? Like, didn't they date for a little while? Let's see. Manga storylines look interesting, but I just can't get into this. I'm assuming the art, or you just can't start. Jem says, I've never been a manga guy either. Trust me, Berserk is accessible for comic readers. That's good to know. I might have to check that out. Yeah, he said art. He said he couldn't get into the art. All right, Muhammad says, have you ever played any Persona 5? Are we talking about a video game? Because you're talking about a guy that doesn't play games anymore. I used to be a huge gamer, and I kind of passed that legacy on to my son. He plays the Xbox One now. He plays everything. So, like, even if I couldn't even play video games whatsoever. It wouldn't even be a thing, right? The only thing I play are games on my cell phone. That's it. Like, I played Clash Royale. I play this game called Dead Ahead, which is a zombie game. I've played games like that, but very rarely do I play console games. I played Fortnite a few times. It's all right. Is it the Prince of Tennis? That might be what it is. It sounds very familiar. Mr. Vic says, there is one with a girl that plays tennis with was good. Did you ever read Lone Wolf and Cub? No. Never even heard of it. Noob says, the Swamp Thing series is pretty awesome. I read, you know what Swamp Thing series is really good is, was it Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing? I thought that was really good. I have the trades in that. Let's see what we got here. John Cortez. Hey, everyone. Just wanted to throw a curveball in. Do you guys think that the hype about Punchline is overrated? You know what? I like when stuff like that happens for the comic book industry, because what it does is it gets people excited about storylines, right? That is awesome. I love that. And if there was something like that in comics every week, I think it would be wonderful, to tell you the truth. Whether the character will last is another thing. It's like, will she have legs? Will the value of that book hold? It's still yet to be determined, right? But anytime where we get a new character that drives hype for comic book readers, whether you're a speculator, whether you're a reader, I think it's really a good thing. So that's the way I look at it. Noob says the Harley Quinn animated series is also hilarious. I've been meaning to check that out, and I just haven't sat down. I've heard great things about it. I have access to DC app, but I just haven't sat around to watch it. You know why? Because I got kids home every single day right now. Can't watch that show with kids around. So that's a tough one. Bavarian says those were the dark days when Mike was off the air for a year and a half. I really got into books because of the community That's the best part. Yeah, I was not on this channel for a year and a half. There was a time where I had to take a break, but I still wanted to do stuff, and I did it on my friend's uh, comic frontline site where we were trying to build the channel over there as a group channel and whatnot. So I dedicated my time over there for a while. And then I said, you know what, wanted to come back here. And that's what I did. So that kind of stunted the growth of this channel. And I've been back now pretty much for, I want to say about 2 years now, 1 year and a half. So, and I feel like this past year, I've been growing a decent amount. Clash rocks. LOL. Muhammad, have you ever tried the comics from? No, I can't even say half these words because I can't read right. They basically Marvel Comics of Indonesia now being adapted to their own version of the MCU. Nope. Never have. Tevia joins the show. Ghost Tsushima gameplay came out and it's awesome. Okay. Vinny's on the show. Can't talk about Punchline when we don't have enough story in her yet. Oh, yeah. But I'm telling you, man, people been waiting for that Batman issue forever. And I think it was supposed to come out like next week or something like that. And it's gotten delayed again. So it's just like, let's get Punchline in here, man. People been going ape shit about Punchline, right? All right, let's see what else we have on here. Agree on Punchline. It's good press for the hobby. Yeah, man, I definitely agree with that. It's so good. It's just like same thing when it comes to like an amazing Spider-Man character or something like that. It's just like you want to talk about comics, right? When comics were not around during this whole coronavirus situation, okay, it's like how didn't you feel like a little depressed? Like you're kind of like, I get it, like there's a lot of things going on in the world that affect you, me, everybody else. I affected, my tennis business was affected, but you as a person look forward to these comic books. This is the thing that you love to do, and when that all of a sudden exits your life, you're kind of like, huh, now what? Now what do I do? Right? So whenever we have something positive to talk about, it's great. Great for the hobby. All right, let's see. What are we talking about here, Tavia? Any opinion on Death Metal revealing 2 tie-ins because that series looks epic and badass? And we're going to talk about that in a couple minutes here. I love to stick around longer, Mike, but I've got to go to work and kick Friday in the nuts. Later, everyone. See you, noob. Thanks for watching, bro. Smoke Ghost says, I hope they write Punchline dark, Joker dark. I hope she can kick some serious ass. That's what I'm hoping for sure. I think she can be a badass character. Wouldn't that be insane if her and Harley fought and she just destroyed Harley? Like, I don't want to say kill her. That I don't want to say. Okay. So we'll see what happens. Have I ever tried Malaysian food? Nope. John says, good point. I was reading the run and I was enjoying until the hype build up. Then I have to wait longer to get a copy to catch up. Aggressively Relaxing says, I'm so happy my Marvel soaps have started back up. Terry says, what do you collect besides Spider-Man? Dude, I collect a lot. I probably collect at least anywhere between 13 to 18, 19 titles every single week. So I read a lot of stuff, more heavily than more Marvel heavy than DC heavy. But I do collect a lot of stuff. Jem says, catch you guys later. Thanks, Jem, for tuning into the show, bro. I definitely appreciate it. Have a good night, and I'll see you on the next video. Vinny says, comics was my weekly escape from family and work, etc. And yeah, it's been brutal these past few months. We have Gerardo says, hello from Argentina. And Mr. Vic says, read back issues. I have read back issues, graphic novels, but you know what? There's something about new comics that's just not the same. Did you get any of those Allegiance Arts Walmart exclusives? No, I did not. I actually went to my Walmart shop and they didn't have any. Any opinion on death metal? Yeah, I'm going to talk about death metal. Let's get into some of the stuff that we're going to talk about, guys. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you haven't subscribed, like, hit the bell, let people know that the channel exists, okay? All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about today, let me get to these things, is this one right here. So death metal expands to 7 issues plus death metal guidebook. So originally this series was slated for 6 issues. Snyder has added more to it, which probably is expected, right? Made it to 7. And now there's going to be a guidebook, and then there's a skip month, I think, to release this death metal guidebook. It goes on sale on August 17th. So pretty interesting, I guess. Listen, when it came to the first death metal series, for some reason, I fell off of it. Okay. I have a lot of the issues. I don't have them all. So I think what I need to do is I need to actually go out there and maybe buy the trades for this, read it whole, and see what this story is, reread it and see what it is. But I might give the first one a try. I might give this first issue a try. I don't know how many of you are death metal fans out there, but that's kind of like what's going on with it. Nothing exciting for me, but it's going to be an event that's going to last a while, and it's DC's main event, I think. And so yeah, hopefully you guys are looking forward to it. The next thing we're going to be talking about real quick is Peter David will write the origin story for Maestro. So Maestro character's been around forever. He's a character that's a future Hulk that just goes diabolical. He's a diabolical crazy, right? And but we never knew the origin story of this character. And for him to be around like almost 30 years is insane. And we don't know his origin. So Peter David, who is the co-creator of this character, he's going to write it. And you know what? I'm going to buy it. So hopefully you guys are on board with that one. If you're a Hulk fan, I am. I'm totally on board with this. I love villains. And yeah, I'll definitely check it out for sure. All right, so let's see what else we have here. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is DC titles delayed for May 19th. Now, let me go back and just find the article on which ones they are once again, and then I'll let you know in a second here. Dun, 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 here we go. Okay, so we have our first, I guess you want to call it official New Comic Book Day on the 20th or 19th, where we're going to get DC independent books, and then we'll have a full comic book day on the 27th, right? So we have DC comics that did not make it there in time to get shipped. So there was a transportation issue, okay, from the printer to Diamond, and the following books that were scheduled for May 19th on sale were delayed in arrival at Diamond's warehouse. So the books that are affected from this, okay, are Batman and the Outsiders, issue 12, DC Superstars, issue 17, the Facsimile edition, that was delayed. If you're a Hawkman fan, issue 23 was delayed. Also the variant, so you can't get the variant cover. House of Whispers, issue 20, that was also delayed. Joker and Harley, Criminal Sanity, issue 4, and the variant is delayed. If you're a Flash fan, issue 753 and the variant, delayed. Green Lantern, what are we on? I think is also delayed. So we have that one. Wonder Woman issue 755, delayed. Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen, issue 3, the third printing, and the Flash Giant. So all that stuff is delayed. And it just says we apologize in advance for the inconvenience. So right away, we get our first new comic book day, DC to release books on Tuesday or whatnot, and we have books that are not going to be there. So I get it. Things are going to not be perfect right away, but we knew that May 20th was going to be, or May 19th was going to be the date, that first official date. And people in shops are expecting these books to be here in their place of business. And now, whether you buy them or not, they're not there. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's very frustrating. And, you know, if it meant delaying it one more week to make sure you have all the books in your shop, you know, to have everyone get their books out by May 27th, maybe you should have done that. That's the way I look at it there. To have these delays a week before you have, you know, your kind of like your first official comic book day, it just sucks, right? It's just like, okay, great job. So that's kind of the discussion there when it comes to these DC books being delayed. So if you're looking for some of those, we don't know when they're going to come out. So we don't know if they're going to come out the following week or if they're going to spread them out. So right away off the bat, you already got delays. So let's see what the comments say here. So we have thoughts on this week's Justice League Comic Universal. I'm going to be talking about that in a bit. And after we get done with these comments, let's see here. We got Smoke says, thanks, Mike, for keeping the comic content flowing in these dark times. Love your videos. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I tried, like I said, I'm trying my best, and I want you guys to have some kind of entertainment instead of dealing with some depressing times, you know? So yeah, G-Spot says, I haven't touched a comic book since the shelter in place. Just found out Marvel going digital. What's up with that? I feel like they're tasting the digital market. So that was news that happened earlier in the week. So when it comes to Marvel going digital, it's certain titles. So it's like mostly it's limited series. It's Ant-Man, it's Avengers Wastelands, it's what the heck is it? It's Spider-Gwen. It's some of those miniseries that were released. And which I get the miniseries because when you look at it, Marvel has so many books that are on the shelf, right? They got to somehow catch up. And so by releasing those books digitally, you still get those books now that were delayed. And if you want to complete them, you're going to have to read in trade. Okay. So I agree with that in that aspect. But when it comes to books that were already out and you can't finish the story except if you buy the trade, that kind of sucks, right? You should have made certain books, certain miniseries that haven't come out yet, make them go digital, right? Not ones that were already out. So that kind of sucks. But I get why they're doing it because, again, think about how many titles Marvel releases. They release like 25 titles every single week. So somehow to play catch up, they got to put those books digital. Okay. So that's the answer to your question. And yeah, I think it might test the digital market. Unfortunately, it's like, you know, if people want to read those series, it's like, well, I got to read the series. So I'm going to be forced to buy those. So it's not really, I think, a true indicator. I think when it comes to a digital series, you got to start at one and you got to see where it goes all the way through. Okay. All right. So let's see. I love Dark Knight Metal so much. I have every issue and the tie-ins. That's what Terry says. Sorry, the comments are not coming up. I mean, this always happens when it comes to StreamYard. For some reason, everything just completely slows down, and then I can't show the comments the way I want to. Andrew says, Peter David on a Hulk book. Say no more. I'm in. So honestly, I'm not surprised with the delays. That's what Tevia says. Do you think Generations getting canceled? Because I think it is inedible at this point, considering it got delayed again and it is in July. I don't know when it comes to that. Whatever happens, happens. And if I don't even know if I'm interested in buying it yet. So we'll see where it goes, how it's changed, and things like that. All right, so let's go to the books I did read. So I read a total of 3 books this week. Yes, that's right. I'm breaking the freaking bank here when it comes to reading comic books this week. I didn't read all the DC books, but I did read Ghost Spider issue 9. That's right. I read it digital because me and my comic frontline fans over a Comic Book Weekly that we do every Tuesday night right here on this channel and Comic Frontline. If you guys haven't checked that out, I would love for you to check that out at 10 p.m. Eastern time. We have access to these digital books. And so I was like, all right, well, what am I going to read? Ghost Spider, because I read that physically. And I don't get why this book is coming out digitally, unless eventually it's going to end. This is what boggles my mind. But Ghost Spider issue 9 was okay. We have this situation where it deals with the storms in this universe. We have Johnny and we have and Sue. Okay. And so they're like these internet social media giants, and they've made their return. And in this issue, we find out that they're not such great people. They're actually kind of evil. And they kill their mom. And that's not very good, is it? Right. And so in this issue, we get to see the struggles with Gwen on how her and her father, are heroes, but in different ways, right? Gwen is a superhero. Her dad is a police chief. And, her father kind of looks at her work as something completely different, and her and her father go back and forth about being a police chief. You can retire anytime. You don't need to do this anymore. And her father goes to her and says, well, you can be, you don't have to be this hero. And she feels like she has a responsibility because Peter Parker died in that universe, and whatnot. So it was it was a pretty good story. It was nice to read a brand new comic book, but I felt that the story did drag on a little bit. And I was kind of like, okay. And then at the end of the day, you wound up seeing Gwen team up with Sue Storm and Johnny Storm, and it's not going to be a good thing. The other thing is just Gwen has been very agitated. And then in this issue, you get to see her suit kind of change into Gwenum, okay, a little bit in this book too. So I don't know what's going to happen with these 3. How long it's going to take her to discover that these guys are evil or whatnot. But it was an okay issue. I don't think this is my favorite storyline here because I like when she goes back and forth to worlds, and we just haven't seen that quite as much in most recent issues. And I don't know what's going to be the outcome of Gwen Stacy and Ghost Spider. I just don't know why this book went digital. I'm very curious. Maybe it's because it's for digital readers. Maybe people are purchasing it digitally. I don't know. Or again, the sales are just real low, and this could be canceled, and there's going to be a definitive ending soon. Who knows? It's still yet to be determined, but we'll see what happens. Okay. All right. The next book that I definitely had to read was Avengers of the Wastelands. Okay. This book was a book I was so disappointed to hear that went digitally only, because I have the 3 other issues, and issue 4 was about to come out, and then we had everything come out, and then I hear that this is digital. I'm like, well, shit, now I gotta read this. So again, I have access to read this book. I hated reading it digitally. I don't get the same feel for it. I can't get engrossed into the story the same way. But nevertheless, I read it. It was another solid issue. If you guys do read a digital book, this is the one I could recommend to buy, because again, it all ties into this Old Man Logan stuff. All since the very first trade that was released, we get to see Danny Cage. We get to see a young Bruce Banner, like Bruce Banner Jr. We get to see some random guy that's Ant-Man. We get to see a Hydra agent that became a Captain America, and they're all teaming up to be the Avengers. And Viv is back online on here as well. So that is really badass to see too. And in this issue, we wind up finding out that there's a traitor on the team. And we've been led to believe that it's Captain America or this version of Captain America. And so we find out who the traitor is. And we get to see old versions of like the Green Goblin, Absorbing Man, Enchantress. She still looks the same because she's a goddess. And it was kind of cool to see them do battle against these characters here. And we get to see, what is it called? There was a city that they went into. Was it Osborne City or something like that? I don't know, but it was a pretty good read, really interesting, fun. So if you don't want to buy it digitally, because again, you're against digital comics, then I would wait for the trade on this one and read this one back to back. This would read amazingly in trade. This is a great book, a great book. So definitely check this one out. All right, let's see. And then the last book we're going to be talking about is a book that I actually purchased. This is the only new comic book that I purchased this week because I purchased a bunch of older books. And I'll show you in case you haven't seen my comic book haul this week. I can suggest that you want to check that out as well to see everything I picked up. But Justice League issue 44 starts off with a new story arc, and it has to do with peril in the pits of Tartarus, and this has to do with a lot of Wonder Woman's mythological creatures, which was kind of cool. This book is filled with action. That's what I can say here. I'm disappointed that Robert Venditti is going to be leaving this book because I feel like this book is already starting to hit a good stride, and he's going to be leaving as it gets good, right? And I think he's going to write a Spectre story. I think that's what he's doing. So in this book, we wind up seeing these mythological creatures actually charging their jet, and they're trying to figure out why these creatures are attacking Aquaman and whatnot. And we get to see that they have these green eyes, and they're all angry at each other, and they're angry at the Justice League. And really, it's just a battle. I mean, that's pretty much the entire issue. But man, it was amazing to see all these insane creatures. And I'm like, man, this is awesome. And I just loved in this book how the Justice League actually teamed up together and worked as a team and defeated the threat, right? And there's great paneling in this book as well. Panel layouts and whatnot, not confusing to read at all, and stuff like that. And we get to see Wonder Woman go in the pit and they save her. And then what happens is like they kind of go against each other. All their eyes turn green and whatnot. And then there's a person that's behind the outcome of why the Justice League wind up going against each other at the end of the issue. And you're like, oh man, this is quite interesting. Like, why did this character show up at the end of the book? And so you're kind of like, this is awesome, you know? So it was a great read. I loved it. I love this Justice League. And it's like, just as soon as you get it, it's going to be gone again. So nevertheless, though, if there's a book that you pick up Justice League issue 44. It started a new story arc. I think it goes to issue 47. I could be wrong there. Even the previous story arc was really well done too. Pick that up also. That started at issue 41. So yeah, go out there and pick that one up too. So that's it when it comes to the comic books that I actually, new comic books. I'm not a fan of Lois Lane. I'm not a fan of, the other DC books that are out, like Metal Man and all those other ones. All right. So the books I did pick up, some of these key issues I picked up this week, was Thor. This was issue 148. This is the first appearance of the Wrecker. Trust me, it's not in the best of shape, but this book is from the 60s, and I'm just happy it's still together, right? But when I saw this first appearance, I was like, oh yeah. They also had I think it was the first appearance of Hela in a Thor comic book, not Journey in the Mystery, and they had that one too, but I didn't buy that particular one. That might be next week's. The next one I bought was The Mighty Thor issue 339. I've been sharing these pictures on the Facebook community page. This is the first appearance of Stormbreaker, so I wound up getting that book too. And I'm pretty sure I have a copy of that one, but I just can't find it. So I was like, oh, I'll make sure I'll get another one. Then I got this Red Sonja book. I don't know when this one was made. I have to look at it. It just says May, but I don't know what year. But that's a nice looking cover right there. And I thought, yeah, this is pretty awesome. So I don't have too many old Marvel Red Sonja books. So those are classics. Then the Amazing Spider-Man issue 127. I bought this one just for the cover. The cover's in great shape. The book is in great shape. And just Mary Jane looks really nice on here. Appearance of the fifth Vulture. That's what it says when you look it up on Comic Book Realm. Look at Harry. Like, he's just like weird, man. But yeah, this book is in pretty good shape. So I was happy to get this one as well there. And then I just got this book because of it made me laugh on the covers. So I got the Human Torches issue 2 and issue 4. And the funny thing that got me to buy these was because we all know who Paste Pot Pete is, right? The amazing, like, you've seen this character on The Amazing Spider-Man. And I had no idea this character was as old as he is, but he's in this book. And this is the way he looks. Like, look at his hat. He's got this bow tie. Like, he's sporting that thing right there. And he's like holding a paint can. Like, what is happening there? Like, so messed up. But nevertheless, he's there. And I don't know. It's kind of cool, right? And then you just got like this other cover here as he's like flying around, and he's like, no one can stop the Human Torch. Why can't you spray like a fire hose on him or a fire hydrant? That can stop him, right? But it's just funny, man. I love seeing these old comic books, and that's the beauty. I guess that's a positive side about dealing with no new comic books. You can find something. There's always something to find. And if you love comics, you'll love these, right? They're a little bit more money, yes, but there's so much history in comic books that, like I said last week, you can be around for years and years, and you'll always find something new, or you'll always find something that doesn't exist or didn't know exist, right? And so Human Torch was an example of that. Like, I had no idea that existed, and I had no idea that Paste Pot Pete existed way back then also. So yeah, so those were some of the books that I picked up last week. All right, so let's check out your guys' comments here. Let's see if I can go back and find them. Let's see. Go back to these digital conversations here. Okay. Let's see if I can get the comments to show up again. No, it's taking forever. Sorry about the slow internet, guys. I apologize against that. It's just what StreamYard does for me. It's not user friendly for me. All right. Tevia says maybe Marvel Comics need to plan ahead. Maybe. I don't know. But the thing is they're trying to play catch up, right? Gore says, hopefully I'm in the minority among readers for the sake of local comic book shops, but I don't miss having new comics. I've been enjoying old comics, reading and exploring more European trades. That's great. That's awesome. Like I said, there's something there for everybody, right? And that's a good thing. That's why these back issues exist, because if it's something that you never read before, or if it's something that you were interested in, then you can dive into that now, right? Or maybe you might sit there and flip a switch and say, hey, maybe I don't need to read so many new comics. Maybe I just want to read the old stuff, right? Tevia says, I dropped off a Ghost Spider a long time ago. Okay. And I can see the series getting canceled, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm not sure. I got to check on the numbers on that one, see how much it sold last month. Aggressively Relaxing says, I was surprised Ghost Spider went digital too, because it was really solid. The last cover with her playing drums was awesome. Yeah. It is literally the only book that is an ongoing series that got that treatment. So again, I'm led to believe that it's going to get canceled too. Honestly, I miss her being called Spider-Gwen. I think that flows better. I like Spider-Gwen too. When are we going to see a middle-aged moon woman? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? When are we going to see Spider-Bitch from the Old Man Logan universe in this series? She was Hawkeye's daughter, right? She was the Spider-Woman in that world. She was actually a bitch. Andrew says, so bummed Vendetti is leaving Justice League. It had been great. Oh, yeah. Sweet Exorcist on the show. Justin, welcome. Glad you're on it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Tevi says, I love this Justice League. Yeah, I agree. It's not like end of the world scenario, right? It's just kind of like, hey, we battle the bad guys and we try to win, right? Andrew says, Paste Pot Pete is dressed like a French Walter. He is. He is, because he's like a painter or whatever it looks like in there, right? He's got paint and everything. Aggressively Relaxing says, Paste Pot Pete appearance is definitely cool. Huh, I'm so curious to know. I need to look it up. Like, when is the first appearance of Paste Pot Pete? When was the first time he ever appeared in a comic book? I'm curious how old that character actually is. Comic Universal says, the team of 5 villains in Avenger of the Wastelands was good, but Wild Child just felt so out of place in it. Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, that character, I don't think really need to be in the book. It was just like, oh, I know I can't penetrate your skin, but I can penetrate your eyeballs. That's great. Thanks for contributing in this series, because then you just got wasted to ash at the end of the freaking book. All the other characters were kind of cool, but yeah, Wild Child, they could have put anybody else in there, right? Let's see. Comic Universal says, who is taking over from Vendetti after his run? Also, I am loving his run so far. And Mr. Vic says, I think he was an Iron Man villain. Paste Pop Pete. You know what? I think you are right. I think I did look it up one time where he originally came from. No, that was the Melter I looked up. So it wasn't Paste Pop Pete. And then when it comes to Robert Vendetti, who's taken over, I know that we were told that news, but I don't remember who it is. I totally forgot. It draws a blank. I don't remember. So, yeah, that's all the questions. That's all the comments. That's all the comics. So, next week we'll get more comic books. And I think I'm getting actually like 5 or 6 new comic books next week, right? We got Deceased Unkillables coming out next week. We have the new AWA series coming out called Year Zero, which is a zombie book taking place in different perspectives around the world. That's coming out. Trying to think of what else we're getting. I don't remember the other few that I'm picking up, but I can look it up real quick. I think I'm going to look it up and see what I do have. I'll let you guys know right now. Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to jump on Red Hood and the Outlaw just to see what it's up to these days. So I think I'm going to check out that book. Oh, yeah. Dollhouse Family issue 5. That's coming out. That's been such a creepy book. So, if you're a fan of that one, you might want to check out that. But yeah, Deceased Unkillables, like I said. Oh, yeah. Savage Dragon, issue 248, only 2 more away from 250. I got every issue. I've been collecting that thing since I was a kid. There's just a nostalgia thing for me there. Eric Larson, Spider-Man connection. Definitely picking up that book for sure, even though it's not the same, right? And yeah, I think that's it. Red Hood, Year Zero, Joe Hill comic, DC's Unkillable, and Savage Dragon. Those look like the new books that I'm picking up next week. So that's probably about it when it comes to that. All right. Oh, so I got some comments here. Here we go. Starting with Mr. Vic. I think he was an Iron Man villain, so we said that. And then who is on Justice League? Andrew has your answer to Pace Pop Pete. Pace Pop Pete first appeared is in Strange Tales, issue 104. So there you go. That character is that flippin' old. I would have never guessed it. Holy cow. Who sits there and says, I'm going to come out with this character, and his name's going to be Pace Pop Pete, and he's going to be around forever, right? Mr. Vic said he is a Human Torch villain. Sweet Exorcist says, Cy Spurrier and Aaron Lopresti are taking over Justice League after Vendetti. Omega Comics. Pace Pop Pete is in Strange Tales 104. Tevia says, do you think Marvel will finally let Peter Parker and Mary Jane finally get married? And again, since Quesada, no, well, listen, if it happens, it happens. I'm just happy they're somewhat together in the Marvel universe. I'm not going to be greedy. That's all I can say. DC's has been fantastic. I definitely agree with you. Do you think the death metal will finally fix the DC universe? I have no idea. You know what's going to fix a good what's going to make a universe good? Just write flipping good stories, man. We don't need reboots. We don't need everything to start over. Just write good stories. Write the characters the way they should be written, and people will jump on again. That's all you need, right? If I sat there and said, look at Tom King's Batman, right? And I sit there and I go on YouTube and say, guys, Batman, right? Tinian, the fourth, his Batman title is awesome. There's no major event there, right? It's just a good freaking story. And that's all you need is good stories. That's it, right? Mr. Rick says he's called the Trapster now, but he's still known as Pace Pop Pete, though. He became the Fantastic Four in issue 38. Comic Universal says, are you excited for Amazing Spider-Man Sins Rising? I'm always excited for Spider-Man stuff. We'll see what that story has to offer. I'm just curious if it just delays the whole Kindred thing some more. I think it does because Kindred made Sin Eater come back, right? That was one of the cliffhangers there, right? And agreed, we also don't need relaunches. Yes, I totally agree with that. So that's all I got for you guys. So I appreciate you guys tuning in this week. Hopefully you had a lot of fun. Enjoy the books you did pick up, whether they're new or old, torn, worn, whatever it is. Have fun with them. Enjoy those stories. Next week we'll get a much bigger comic book day, and we'll do this show all over again. We'll probably talk about more of those new comic books. And guys, until then, be safe, and I'll see you next week. So take care, guys. And remember, I'm always here to help you make decisions of what comic books to buy. So this is the Slayer out. Take care, guys. Bye.